Rob's Roundtable. Mike Story. Nico Face. This is the show of the shows. If you ever watch one of them, watch this one. Vegas odds versus ADP. I compiled a list of 4 different platforms in terms of ADP, set them in rankings, and also went through all the Vegas props for these guys. Where's Vegas, Draftkings, and Fandual setting their numbers for yards and touchdowns. It's a great little spreadsheet. We're going to get a lot of insights here. Great for fantasy, great for betting. Find some inequalities, find some values. All right, moving on to wide receivers. We got the clear top 7, which is the first-round guys, ending off with A.J. Brown and Garrett Wilson. They're all pretty set there. I would say Justin Jefferson's touchdowns are 7.5, but every one of them are around 1,300 yards, 90-plus catches, and 8 touchdowns. Then you see a real big tier break here. I call it the 5-man. They're all the same. Puka, Marvin, Drake London, Devontae Adams, and Chris Olave. Pick your poison, all about mid-80s catches, 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns. Do you have a favorite of that tier? Do you think this is all fair?
So just looking at the numbers, look at Amon-Ra's numbers, 105, 1250, and 8.5, right? I understand it's 100 fewer receiving yards, but it's more receptions, and it's only 1 fewer touchdown. With the uncertainty around CeeDee Lamb's contract, with the Tyreek Hill injury, with the Chase having not, I love Chase, but he hasn't put it all together yet, right? He hasn't adjusted.
He apparently isn't going to hit the field till he gets a contract either.
That's true. We saw that today. So is there a world where Amon-Ra St. Brown is undervalued at number 4?
It's the touchdowns too, man. It's like Jamar Chase we're drafting because he's got this elite touchdown ceiling, which we know he does, right? Because he comps as that player. But how are they the same? How?
That's what I'm wondering. That's what I don't like.
It was volume last year. It was Amon-Ra was the workhorse in that offense, and they're anticipating it the same thing. Because what else did they add in the receiving game?
Yeah. So my home league, I have to kick Chase back into the pool because I've kept him for the last 2 years, right? So that's our rule. And I was bummed about that, but I also have Amon-Ra. I'm not bummed anymore. This is actually very, very validating.
Well, the question for me always was St. Brown or Jefferson. Apparently, we should be asking if it's St. Brown or Chase.
That's what
And, I don't think so. I'm still taking Chase all day. I take the player, right? And I still want to take Jefferson because it's not that far off, but you have the PPR machine in St. Brown.
My heart will always be with Chase, but, from my head perspective, it's tough to argue.
Your heart wants Chase, but your dick wants St. Brown?
Yes.
What about this next tier? The tier 5 I mentioned. Puka, Marvin Harrison, Drake London, Devontae Adams, and Chris Olave. All about the same. Who stands out there as a value in terms of Vegas, and who stands out as a value in terms of ADP?
I think those top 7 are set, like you said, and you can put them in almost any order you want, and I'm not going to chastise you for taking them out of the order that I believe. This next one, though, it's Harrison stands out as I'm not going to buy that. He gets those numbers. London, I'm a little bit of a hesitant on London as well.
Too high for Harrison? Too high for London?
It is, but Vegas has Atlanta too high as a whole, is what I'm seeing. I mean, it's Bijan and London and Pitts now. We haven't got the tight end yet, but we'll see where they're at. I like Adams, but the quarterback play there and the volume concerns me. I think it's Olave is the value down at 12, and I don't think 5.5 is enough for him. I think Carr aired it out, had a lot of big passes last year, threw a lot of touchdowns last year. Not much is going to change in that regard. So I think it's Olave is the value out of that group, and the guy that didn't quite make the cut at 13 is pretty enticing too, and Mike Evans.
Similar numbers to Adams, to London, to Harrison, to Nakua. A couple more touchdowns, maybe a touchdown more, a couple more yards, whatever. But Olave is the last of that group.
Last of the Mohicans, and yes.
And with the same reception number, right?
It's almost like you want to take the end of the guy in that tier.
That
of the tier is
feels
what you want to do, right?
Like if you were looking at these Vegas rankings and you're like, where's the tier break? That's it right there, right? So
you can almost go down to Evans or even Debo.
I don't know that you could.
Debo looks rough, but Debo gets 5 touchdowns rushing, dude.
What did he have for rushing touchdowns?
Not enough catches for Evans to put him in that tier. The touchdowns were there.
That's it, 68 receptions.
Even now. Debo had 5 rushing touchdowns last year, as he always does, dude.
Was it 5?
Every year, the man has 5 rushing touchdowns. And that offsets his 62 catches for 850 yards because you're looking at an extra 30 points. So
it does, and I get that. But the exercise tonight is Vegas versus the ADP for pure receivers.
I get that, but we have to factor in. It's like a pass-catching running back. When they're rushing stuff slow, we know why they're there in ADP.
We got to give the people the whole picture. We're
painting the whole picture. It's like I'll take my shirt off, and you can see there's going to be graphics up here you're not going to be able to see. I'll take my pants off now, too, because they're not going to be able to see
Well, that was not what I wanted to see.
They're not going to be able to see it. Thank you. Okay, Mike Evans 8.5. Debo low receiving. Brandon Ayuk is not listed on here because of the tumultuous offseason.
Naturally, Vegas hates uncertainty.
Nico Collins seems a little overvalued. 72 catches, 1050 and 5.5. Would you agree?
It's so hard to predict what's going to happen in Houston.
Yeah.
I've been a Diggs truther for a long time and been real high on him. And you cannot discount Tank Dell. So good luck, Vegas, picking. You're going to lose your ass on one of these three.
Well, I mean, if Nico is overvalued, what's he sitting at 13?
16.
16. Okay. 16
higher than that.
Is Jalen Waddle overvalued then? Only one behind him, and
Right.
So
and then
fewer yards.
Cooper Kupp is definitely overvalued because he's at 1,000 yards, 100 yards less, and he has one more touchdown, I suppose. I guess they're all kind of in the same little tier.
Yeah.
But it's also probably health concerns with him. So it's like he's probably. I'd almost want him more because I'd rather have the guy that when he's playing is producing, opposed to the guy that might miss 5 games. I'm fine with that because when at least I have him in my lineup.
Who's the guy that's missing 5 games?
Cooper Kupp.
Okay.
Right? I mean, that's what they're baking in. So you had an issue with DK Metcalf at 67 catches, 1,000 yards, 6.5. You feel like he's overrated. I disagree just because no matter what you say to me, you can present to me any kind of information, and I say that's wrong. Couple of guys to highlight here. Michael Pittman, undervalued, man. 87 every year he has 95 catches. 87 catches, 950 and 5.5. Dude, the 87 catches, you look up the next guy, he has more than Puka Nacua for projected catches.
Who else is catching passes for Indianapolis?
That's the key, especially with Josh Downs being hurt.
Yeah.
I love that. And then Devonta Smith.
That rookie's not ready yet.
Super undervalued. 77 catches.
A.D. Mitchell.
1,050 and 6.5. He has literally the same as Jalen Waddle.
Yeah. No,
Devontae's a value.
That's a huge value.
22?
Right? At 22, 23 and a half PPR.
Now let's talk about your guy at 23, Malik Nabers. You had him at 11. I had him at 13.
Yeah.
You had him down at 23, which actually seems pretty accurate.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Actually, you were lower. I think you had 26.
It was down
He
there.
is at 4.5 touchdowns, 74 catches, 875.
Yeah, that's rough.
Very low.
Danny Dimes.
Yeah.
Very low. Is this getting you off of Malik Nabers' story? Or
I
are you
mean,
saying,
it does make me cool on Malik Nabers. I'm definitely going to move him down. But it also, it's just 2 touchdowns different between him and DJ Moore. He's got more receptions listed and a few fewer yards, but
there's no Keenan Allen or Roma Dunze there either.
Right.
So
he should have more touchdowns.
he has more.
He
He has more target upside, clearly, but it's like you're capped when you have Danny Dimes. Like you literally are capped. Like
but I mean, you got
Brian Robinson.
yeah.
You have to think that Moore is capped as well. You got Keenan Allen and Roma Dunze there, and Cole Kmet.
Offense still runs through him.
And DeAndre Swift.
Come on,
You've never seen DJ Moore on a team.
We don't know what the offense runs through yet. This isn't like there was already a rapport with DJ Moore.
We saw the preseason.
Preseason is worthless.
Amari Cooper at 65 catches. That seems awfully low.
But 950 yards.
But Watson can't throw the ball. Apparently he's arm sore, so he's got to dump down.
950 yards, 65 catches
That's
for
nice.
9.
That's weird.
That's an insane.
Big play guy. Big play dude.
I think he's got to be over that.
So here's the next
14.6 yards per catch. Like that, that doesn't compute.
Here's the next one I want to bring up.
Catches.
Yeah.
The Texans receivers, right? So Stephon Diggs, 74, 900 and 5.5. We had Nico at 72, 1050 and 5.5. Essentially the same exact thing. And then you have Tank Dell at, his catches aren't on here, but 825 and 4.5. So like Stephon Diggs is undervalued or is Nico overvalued?
Well, according to that, Stroud is right where he needs to be.
Yeah,
right.
If you're gonna,
no one's really doing.
We just had the discussion: is Stroud overvalued? I don't know if you've got these 3 that high. I don't think you can be.
900.
Right. And I also really like Terry McLaurin at 69 catches, 900 yards, and 4.5 touchdowns.
He's going to be way over that with Dotson trade, but I don't know that Vegas is adapted to the Dotson trade. That just happened.
This was before. I did this before the Dotson trade.
So I think you'll see that go up if you run this in
74 catches, 1,000 yards.
I think you'll see him closer to 90.
Will the ADP catch up is the question.
Hopefully not, because I want some Scary Terry in my lineups this year.
So if you take the 3 guys, the 3 main receivers in Houston, that based on what they've got Stroud projected for, means that he only has to make up another 1,375 yards. And you're telling me between the tight end,
Dalton Schultz,
Noah Brown, Joe Mixon,
John Mechie,
Another cancer survivor.
Yeah.
And any ancillary pieces, he can't make up another 1,400 yards. Like, that is bizarre to me. I mean, they must be thinking that this is a strictly narrow 3-person target tree.
Chris Godwin, 850 and 4.5. I didn't have his receptions on there. I'm guessing it'd be about 70.
Yeah.
Similar to Deontay Johnson. I think those are both values when it comes to PPR leagues.
Undervalued, right? Sitting at 33 here, 34 in fantasy pros.
Keenan Allen, 71, 825 and 4.5. And you have DJ Moore at 68, 950 and 6.5. I'd give me DJ Moore, though, all day over Keenan Allen.
It's
like, one's wrong, and I think it's Keenan Allen. He's fat.
Yeah, fat. The guy weighs 50 less pounds than me.
Jackson Smith and Jigba, 64, 775.
Yeah, and 4.5.
And 4.5. That seems high.
It does. They like him.
What about Deontay? The clear number 1 in Carolina should be a massive volume.
People
play.
love Deontay Johnson
Do you
this
think
year.
71, 825, and 4.5 is fair?
I think so. Right?
So you think Adam Thielen's a thing?
No.
He's a tight end.
No.
He's on the tight end list, actually. When I printed out, like, next thing you know, Adam Thielen's on the tight end page. Wow, he's transformed. He's transitioned to a tight end.
I love it.
Nice.
Notice
He identifies as a tight
no
end.
reception total for either Christian Watson or Jaden Reed.
No, and actually, we forgot to bring this guy up. T. Higgins, 65 catches, 875 and 5.5. As much as we all love T. Higgins, that is not a ringing
I
endorsement.
don't love T. Higgins. What are you talking about?
This year, you like him.
No, I don't like. I've
At
never liked T.
26,
Higgins.
you don't like
We've
him?
always tried to make T. Higgins happen, and T. Higgins is not a thing. Stop trying to make T. Higgins happen.
Well, I want to make him happen on you, all over you.
Yeah.
So you don't like that? You think that's fair? Like 65 catches is super low.
Yeah, that seems about right for
875 is super low.
perennial wide receiver too.
Tyler Boyd still there?
No.
Yoshi Vasquez though,
Oh, that's your
and
guy.
Jermaine Burton.
Last one I got to talk about here
Just a second.
is Cortland Sutton. I wrote this in because he wasn't on the list. 44. I think the biggest value, and I am really warming into him. He's gonna be a PP of mine. I took him. I waited. I took some running backs and some quarterbacks in my first draft. Actually, it was Erica's draft. I took him in my flex, dude, in a 3-receiver in a 1 flex league for PPR as my 4th receiver. 800 yards and 5.5 touchdowns. He had 10 touchdowns last year. He's the number 1. Bo Nix is looking good. Dude,
Bo Nix is named the starter.
At 44, he's better than Watson, better than Jigba.
I get it, but we don't have a reception total on here, and 5.5 is 6 fewer touchdowns than he had, or 4 fewer touchdowns than he had last year. The dude caught 10 touchdowns last year and couldn't crack the top 30
I'm just
wide
saying,
receivers.
you're getting him at
That's
44,
tough
though.
to do. I get it, but that I wish I had a reception total on here because it doesn't scream that this guy is a must draft.
Put it this way: Tank Dell 825, 4.5. Sutton 400, 800, 5.5. Tank Dell's going 29. Sutton's going 44. That's all I gotta say.
So
Right?
with
Yeah.
Bo Nix being a little bit more of a short field guy, game manager, taking what the defense gives him versus Russell Wilson attempting to air it out not so well last year, do you think that Cortland's touchdown? I mean, he's not a run after the catch guy. So my concern there is, he's going to get a lot of catches, but I don't see the yards or the touchdowns for
Yeah,
Sutton.
I don't either. 5.5, like, there's just those are empty calories to me. Like, it just doesn't feel. You'll never put him in your lineup, like ever. He'll
Sutton,
never.
If you wait and it's a 4th receiver, yeah, you will.
Okay,
If you wait I play deep league, Story. I'm a man.
so you're talking leagues that have 3-4 wide receivers.
Yeah.
Like okay,
In
maybe
12-team
that's
leagues,
fine.
if
I
you
get
wait
it.
and you get some onesie positions and or as your 5th receiver. I don't know.
I'm just saying in a normal 2 or 3 wide receiver
who
build,
plays those?
they'll
Those
never.
are weak as hell, dude. My home league is 3 receivers and 2 flexes and 2 running backs and 12 teams.
Yeah,
You
but
could
what
start 5 receivers
what do
in PPR.
most people play? What do most people?
My
play?
home league's 2 receivers, 2 running backs, 2 flexes.
Most people only do missionary when they bang, dude. I'm gonna do all.
statistics to back that up.
Yeah, I'm gonna do all this shit, bro. Like,
Missionary hurts my hip, man. I can't.
I want my wife to peg me,
I'm
do all this.
42 now.
I'm 42 now.
Yeah.
Let's go. Sorry, Erica, if you're listening. All right, moving on to tight ends here. This is really interesting. There's not much here, but the top 5 guys, actually, it's supposed to be a top 4 you hear, right? It's Laporta, Kelsey, Andrews, McBride. I'm throwing Kincaid in there because Kincaid has the same exact numbers.
Yeah, I like Kincaid better than McBride
Dude,
personally.
80 catches. He has the same numbers, actually more touchdowns than Trey McBride. But, you're getting him 2 rounds later.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the pick for me.
And especially in
I'd much rather have
PPR.
that.
Mark Andrews, give me Kincaid over Andrews. I'm not saying I'm drafting as such.
Well, would you? Yeah, that's the question. It comes down to
it's a better value where you can get him, and Andrews is 67 catches.
Would you skip Andrews every single time to drop down and get Kincaid?
Yes.
3-4 rounds later, yes.
Even Sam Laporta looks very overvalued when you look at, yes, he's got the catches and the yards, but like you're going to take him in the 3rd round opposed to the 6th round.
Now, that gap closed. If you look at half PPR now, it's overall 51 for Andrew, or 50 for Andrews, 51 for Kincaid. So that gap has closed significantly.
Yeah, but what about Laporta?
Well, I'm not. I mean, Laporta 29, right? So Kelsey 27. I'm just saying, McBride, Andrews, and Kincaid, they're all grouped into that 4-spot range: 48, 50, 51. So I don't know how much.
I'd go Kincaid, Andrews, McBride personally.
In that order.
Yeah, that's the order I draft him in. And for me, it's Andrews. You need to get close. He's not going to break the play open, right, and get the long touchdowns. And you've got Derrick Henry now, and you still got Lamar, who's going to rush there. I get Allen's going to run some, and so is Cook. But
look at the reception total.
That's what scares me is the catches, and it's likely as well. They're going to play him.
Isaiah Likely. I don't think you can put the genie back in the bottle. Once you saw what he did at the end of last year after Andrews got hurt in the playoffs, right? He burned everybody 2 years ago, but last year he really showed that he is the heir apparent to that tight end position.
So if you're still playing in a dinosaur standard league, then Andrews is the guy, but
6.5 touchdowns.
Otherwise, it's Kincaid and McBride.
Our boy Kyle Pitts, it's not looking good for him. This is bad.
Yeah, 64 catches. That is 4.5 touchdowns.
Dude.
That just validates everything I think about.
And honestly, look at David Njoku. I have started here, which we have all. I love David Njoku, but I have not been on him this year. But literally everything across the board is better than Kyle Pitts.
He's a steal.
He's a steal. But how much faith do you put in that Cleveland offense
and look back earlier, right? Rewind back to where we talked about quarterback, and what did Deshaun Watson put up? 18.5 touchdowns or something stupid.
Yeah, I feel a lot more comfortable with Kittle up at 7 with 50. I know it's only 59 receptions, but he's a big play guy, right? So
and Ferguson, man. I know Ferguson doesn't have catches on here, but I feel like Ferguson, that's really low. I want to bet those things.
You saw chemistry with Kittle and Purdy at the end of the year. Kittle caught a lot of his touchdowns at the end of that year when Purdy was really clicking with him. So I think the touchdowns. I'd take over 5.5 for Kittle personally.
I wish we had info on Evan Ingram. I wonder why.
I was going to ask you, what do you think
catches,
Ingram
man.
and Dallas is?
I'll take 80.
And Dallas Goddard's. What do you think their project? I would give you Evan Ingram maybe 73, 700, and 4.5, and then Dallas Goddard like 61, 650, and 5.5 is my guess.
5.5 seems high when you got AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, DeAndre Swift, or not?
Njoku has 5.5. So why couldn't
Barkley?
Dallas Goddard have 5.5? Because clearly, like Jalen Hurts is better than a hand job guy.
True,
you know what I mean?
But Deshaun Watson is not going to run in as many touchdowns as Jalen Hurts is.
Or Saquon. Until you get Chubb back, right? That'll even that score.
Okay, so how about this before we sign off? Pat Freiermuth, 475 and 3.5. People are talking about
that's the steal.
We like him, bro.
But people are 475 and 3.5. People are talking
about enough.
That is that.
Bet the over.
I'm way off on him. Like if Vegas has him at under 500 yards.
Who else is there besides Pickens?
That Pickens is. That's why he's my 12th or 13th ranked wide receiver.
Somebody else, and it's Freiermuth is going to get so much more than that.
I don't think you do. I mean, but
and I want to know, as the Bears fans here, right? How I don't know how your bias plays in. You got 3 great receivers. You've got the next coming of Jesus at quarterback. What numbers? We have none from Vegas. What numbers is Cole Kmet going to put up? How many catches?
Yards? I put it really
450.
Similar to Dalton Schultz, but with more touchdowns, possibly.
I don't think there's more touchdowns. I'd put it 3.5.
Well, because 3.5. Jesus, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't 3.5.
Didn't Kmet have like 8 touchdowns last year?
Yeah, but look at the 3 receivers in Houston.
Well, look at the quarterback.
Receivers in Chicago.
I love Justin Fields, but come on, brother.
But there wasn't it besides DJ Moore. There was nobody to throw to last year.
Yes, there was.
3
and
stats.
And then, yeah,
and then?
I'm waiting for the and then.
Yeah. Let's see. 6 touchdowns last year.
That seemed like a lot more than it was.
Yeah.
All right, this was awesome, man. Hope you enjoyed the knowledge. Thank Rob for all this awesome prep that I do.
Thank you, Rob.
Rob, the host with the most.
We learned a lot. I learned a lot.
The man's got some allergies kicking his ass. He's not going to let
And it's been a complete joy.